All right, number 5, we want to sketch the polynomial again. So again, doing this by hand, we're going to look at the largest degree, which is 6. So it is even. And then we're going to look at the leading term in front of that. It is positive. So again, both endpoints are going to be going upward. So B looks good, and D. So we have two potential candidates, B and D. And so we're going to investigate a little bit more to see the difference in these two. So one thing we can do is we can look at the actual zeros that we see, okay? And we're going to figure out what the zeros are and then compare them to the two graphs. So the way we can figure out those zeros, are we going to factor this function? We have 1/2 x to the 6th plus x to the 5th. My mouse is in the way. Okay, so these two terms have 5 x's in common. So if I factor out an x to the 5th, that would leave me with 1/2 x plus 1. Okay. We're going to set both of these equal to 0. That's how we find the zeros, plugging in a 0. And so I will have x to the 5th is equal to 0. So since this is a product, if I'm multiplying this and I'm multiplying this, and the answer is 0, then one of these has to be 0 or both of them. So we're just checking that. So then I have 1 over 2x plus 1 equals 0. So x to the 5th is just going to be equal to 0. You'll take the 5th root, and then that gives you just x equals 0. So one of the answers is 0. And then if I subtract 1, bring down the 1/2 x, that will 0 out, equals -1. We multiply by 2 to get rid of division. And 2 divided by 2 is 1, so that leaves me with x equals a -2. So these are our two zeros. So I would be looking at a graph, if I just did a rough sketch, that would have a 0 at 0 and -1, -2. Furthermore, the x to the 5th, that was a 0, that being odd. So if you have an odd power, it's going to cross the axis. If it was an even root 0, it would touch. So both of these end up being odd. So x to the 5th and then 1x, those two give you your 6. So it's going to cross at both. So it would come down, cross at -2, and then it might do something and then cross again at 0. So we're looking for something crosses at -2 and 0. And let me see if we can zoom in a little bit more to see what these are. This one doesn't look like it's crossing at all. If I count tick marks 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, if each of these are counting by 2, this one doesn't appear to go through this line at 2. This one, however, does. We would have to like zoom in a whole lot. Let me see if I can make this bigger. Yep, so upon further investigation, we can see that crosses at 2, and then it goes back up and it's hitting 0 right here. So that one's going to be better than looking at this one. Let me see. There we go. This one, which you can see if these tick marks are 2 each, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, we can see that that one is not crossing at 2 or at 0. So this one would be out based on looking at the zeros. So D would be our better graph.